Hello, this is Dr. Nuke. Right now, I'm going to tell you about some nuclear experiences that I have had in my life. Well, to start with, when I was uh, a baby and a toddler, uh, I was on White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. My father was in the Army at the time, and he was stationed there. And Trinity Site, where the first atomic bomb was detonated, is on the grounds um, of that base. uh, Also, I was in Pennsylvania. I was living in Pennsylvania when 3 Mile Island happened in 1979, the nuclear disaster in Pennsylvania. I was about 100 miles away, and so far as I know, I didn't get any significant radioactivity from it, but I was there in the vicinity. Then, let's see, after that, I was, oh yeah, not long after that, I actually viewed a nuclear reactor core. Um, this was at Penn State University. They, at the time, I don't know, maybe they still do, have a research reactor on campus. And during a science fair that the university had, they opened up laboratories on campus to the public for tours, including the nuclear reactor facility. And I was standing there looking down into a pool of water, and in the bottom of the pool of water, there was a bundle of rods that were glowing a beautiful blue-green color. And of course, there was enough water between me and the core, so I was shielded. They told people not to stick their fingers in the water because if any salt or whatever from someone's skin got into the water, it would circulate through the reactor core, and the water could become radioactive. Incidentally, during the tour, they said that once they had found anomalously high levels of radioactivity inside the facility and try as hard as they couldn't locate a source, a leak, or anything, or any cause for the abnormal readings. Then later on, they found out that it was more radioactive outdoors than it was inside. And what was happening was that people were tracking in on their shoes fallout from a Chinese nuclear test that had been conducted just before. And oh, another of my nuclear experiences. I visited Japan. I think it was in 1989, and I went on a day trip to Hiroshima. Took the bullet train from Kyoto to Hiroshima, and then later in the day back to Kyoto. But I was there, Hiroshima, and I saw the Ground Zero area, visited the museum there, and so on. Um, then, let's see, not long after that, I lived in a town in Vermont called Brattleboro, and that town is just a few miles away from a nuclear facility in the town of Vernon, south of it, nuclear power plant. That nuclear power plant is no longer operating, but it's all still there. And let's see, what else? Oh, when I was in college, I forgot to mention this. When I was in college, when Chernobyl happened, you know, a radioactive cloud went all around the northern hemisphere, and I was in Vermont at the time, attending college, and I was outdoors, and it was raining, and this was right when the fallout was over Vermont, And Vermont, apparently, or some places in Vermont, including places not far from where I was, got fairly high levels of radiation compared to some other areas. Again, not enough to be a major problem or anything, but the levels were higher there than in other areas, and it was raining out, so probably there was radioactive stuff coming down around me, uh, although certainly not enough to do any significant harm. So, yeah, had a lot of nuclear experiences. Oh, one more. I visited Trinity Site in New Mexico later on. I went on a bus tour. They opened it up to the public, at least back then they did, one day a year. They allow buses and so on to come onto White Sands Missile Range to go to Trinity Site, and they let people walk around the area around Trinity Site. There's a strict rule against picking up pieces of fused soil, trinitite it's called, which is still slightly radioactive apparently. Uh, People aren't supposed to pick that up, and I guess they watch to make sure no one does pick up the trinitite and take it away. But the it, right now the desert vegetation has come back. It just looks like anywhere else in the desert in that part of New Mexico. Um, there's a marker right where Ground Zero was, and there's an adobe house a couple of miles away from Ground Zero, which survived the detonation. Inside that house was the plutonium assembly room, where they assembled the core, and that room is actually labeled, and I actually stood inside that room in that house. Uh, yes, apparently some people predicted that the house would be destroyed, but it survived the detonation, being 2 miles away. Um, so yes, so I'm definitely have a lot of nuclear experiences. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about that right now. Bye.